Hello, imps and losers. I'm in this podcast series again, 10-ish minute talks run by just some ordinary dude, and I'm fictional media bully. Ain't that awesome, dude?
Yeah, although I'm not sure I'm going to be calling it 10-ish minute talks anymore. I've got to change it very soon.
Yes, you should change it to 30-ish minute talks,
We'll see.
doctor. Anyway, as I'm enjoying this rainy night or whatever, I would like to take a moment to introduce the holy grail of the Loud House fandom. Say hello, Alana.
Hey guys,
Yeah, so,
I'm excited to be
uh,
here.
It's Alana. She's the best. Trust me, she is. She's one of the few unpretentious members of the fandom, and even then, she doesn't interact with the fandom at all. Like only occasionally last year, but never like at these days, which is for the best because that explains why she's sane compared to me and especially dude.
yeah, you just
Yeah,
love to slag me off,
I don't
don't you?
bother with the fandom anymore, to be honest.
So
Yeah.
yeah, what we're gonna talk about, as the dude recommended, is the third season of The Loud House, which I have some good and bad things to say about it, but I can definitely say this: it is the one that made me a genuine fan of the program when I first watched it.
Well, that's very good. But yeah, for most people, including both myself and Alana, season 3 is our favourite of the show for a number of reasons, really. I mean, aside from the fact it just has a lot of really great, fantastic, meaningful episodes in its run. Personally, I don't think there are any real bad episodes. I'm sure FMB here will disagree, but for me, like even the weakest episodes are still just sort of okay. And there are some truly outstanding gems to be considered here, like Head Poet's Anxiety, The Mad Scientist, Middleman, Hero Today, God Tomorrow, Shot Girl, really loud music. There are a lot of, really fantastic episodes here. And on top of that, you've just got to consider the fact that, with one or two exceptions, which I'm sure FMB will point out, like Lana only getting one episode in the season, for the most part, the balance of character focus is really, really amazing here. Almost everybody, or pretty much everybody, gets some days in the limelight, and a lot of good character development and so on. Um, but I suppose since it's your first time here, Alana, I'll ask you, because your favourite season is season 3 as well. What makes it your favourite?
Well, it's basically like the same as you. I like that most of the characters got like a chance to have their own episodes, and it seemed like the character balance was like one of the best in the like out of all the seasons, like next to season 6.
Yeah, season 6 is a very close second for me, for a lot of the same reasons as season 3. But yeah, there's so much really to like about the third season, because let's be honest, as much as I think we all like seasons 1 and 2, they do have a lot of flaws, big recurring faults that are constantly there. Stuff like, characters being taken out of character to suit a very rushed and flawed narrative. Some characters getting sometimes the humour got a little overly mean spirited in episodes like Brawl in the Family. A lot of the continuity was disregarded and the reset button was hit a lot of the time in the earlier seasons. Sometimes, as FMB would point out, some episodes could be illustrated radio and all that sort of thing. Um, so as much as I really like seasons 1 and 2, I mean, season 2 especially is still very, very good. But it was around season 3 when almost all of those flaws were got rid of. Like it was around this point where they got rid of the stupid Clyde crush on Laurie, and Laurie's character permanently improved for the better, with season two's change of heart being her last big blunder episode. It was around season 3 where Lynn started to get lots of character development. Also, after season 2 barely did anything with Luna, season 3 makes up for it and gives her lots of great focal stories and character development and all that sort of thing. So, season 3 improved a lot from what seasons 1 and 2 did. It was a major enhancement in quality. Well, not a major one, but certainly a noticeable one. So yeah, and season 3 is before. As much as I like the later seasons for very different reasons, the creative direction of the later seasons is a bit flawed. Sometimes it doesn't always focus on the most interesting or most important things. And season 3 was like that precarious balance between the two when I think the show was firing on all cylinders or almost all cylinders, and it just seemed to do everything right. It made great episodes. It had great writing and direction. It was when the animation started to improve, and it's just when all the character work and the narrative focus was just it just seemed to hit right, and that's part of why I think it's the best run of official stories in the show so far.
Yeah,
Um,
I liked the show before, like when it first came out, but I think when season 3 came out was when I liked it even more than before.
yeah, absolutely. It's around this point where I think fans really start to understand and appreciate this is how good the show could be. Um, and if every season was as strong as this one, I wouldn't have many complaints. Because there are issues. There are issues with season 3, which I'm sure FMB will get into in a minute because I know it's not his favourite season. I think he prefers season 6 and possibly 5 to it. Um, but there is a lot to love about season 3. That is an absolute certainty.
Can I provide my input?
Yep, sure.
I'll start with the. I'll mostly focus on the positives because when I first got into the Loud House back in early 2023, and this was like long after I was like driven away by the bad faith criticism thrown at it online. So I only tried it out because I was running out of Nicktoons to watch, so I gave it a shot. And I remember liking the first season at the time, but like looking back, it's like series one is just it's good if you just watch the episodes like as their standalone stuff, but when binge watching it, wow, that it's very rough. And then you have the second season, which is a great improvement. Actually, it was on my second like full watch of the Loud House. Sorry, sorry.
Nobody said anything.
Oh, I thought I heard something. But it was on it was on my second full watch of the Loud House that I genuinely did begin to appreciate the second season. But at the time, I thought it was just more of the same, but with improvements. And then you get to season three, which was pretty much when I did notice the improvements. Like this was the one that made me go, yes, actually, the Loud House is a very good program. Surprisingly, is it on par with the best of Rugrats and Avatar? Not quite, but when it's very good, it's very good. And something I appreciate about Series 3, I keep alternating between series and season because over here in the UK, you're supposed to say series.
Yeah, it's a kind of confusing thing. Yeah,
But yeah, one thing I do appreciate about, like, one thing I do really appreciate about Series 3, well, there are two qualities I appreciate. The first is, when watching it as a whole, there's like a consistent theme of honesty to it, if you know what I mean.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
one of my main criticisms for Series 1 is that it really does not have a theme, really. Like, it juggles around ideas, but it never follows through with anything. And Series 2 addressed that, where you had a lot of episodes about the family, and it's like Lincoln is the man with a plan, and the sisters put their abilities to the test to solve a problem. So it's essentially, there's a consistent theme of teamwork in that one.
Yeah.
And now there's a freaking songbird above me.
Is there? Well, that's what happens when you just
Yeah.
go on random strolls in the middle of the morning, isn't it?
Uh, Suck it.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, so but then with series three, like you notice more episodes that are about like characters trying to behave in a less selfish manner, like trying to like understand each other a bit more empathetically and be more
Yeah.
open. So you essentially there's a more consistent theme of honesty, which is a nice expansion, a nice recontextualization of the Loud House formula, like from the first two seasons. Like the Loud House is kind of a different show every season. Really, season one is kind of like if you took Tom and Jerry and Malcolm in the Middle and put them in a blender, except nowhere near as good. and
Well, some episodes could be.
mind you, I have not seen Malcolm in the Middle as of this podcast, but there you go.
Yeah, well, it
And
is a very good series.
Yeah, I've
series
never seen that show, honestly.
series two is kind of like a soft reboot because it's the one to rewrite the parents entirely and also restructure the dynamic between the sisters and Lincoln. So there you go. And series
Yeah.
three is kind of more of the same, but with more of an emphasis on, I guess you could say, slice of life stories as opposed to sitcom narratives.
I suppose you could say that. I mean,
Like, actually, yeah, I did say this to Alana once. Would you say, yeah, Alana, would you say season three and to a lesser extent four are probably the program at its most grounded in reality?
Uh, I'd say more so like season three, especially. Like kind of season four, but mainly season three.
I don't know. When I was watching season four, I was like this one, like that one downplays science fiction a little bit, if I'm being honest, to an extent. Though there's still quite a bit
yeah.
of it. And
Yeah, I actually don't remember like any sci-fi stuff in season four. Now that I think about it.
fair enough. It's
Mm,
just
yeah.
looking when you go back to the first two seasons, like season one has. Well, let's be honest. Season one is hard to take seriously because every sister is the same oblivious idiot.
Again, it depends on
Oh
the
yeah,
episode.
it's awful.
Like
Yeah.
some episodes already, there are some exceptions, but yeah, they're the exception rather than the rule. And then you get to the second season, which admittedly, yeah, does improve on that aspect, but it also has a lot of fantastical setups.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you have two episodes, you have a pair of episodes that essentially introduce supernatural elements, even though it was just hinted at, and
Oh,
then the
yeah.
loudest mention relative chaos, which introduced love potions. So therefore, the program introduced fairy tale fantasy in the mix, or mythical fantasy, I guess you could call
As
it.
early as season two. Yeah. Well.
And
Yeah.
then you have, and then you have No Laughing Matter, which introduced a time machine.
Yeah. Well, they sort of just allude at times. They just talk about it. They don't really like use it. Then do they? It's just
Yeah,
sort of
but
referred
it,
to.
it it doesn't matter if you allude to it or use it as a Family Guy style joke. As soon as you introduce it, it technically exists in the universe.
Yeah. Well, there is
Yeah,
that.
that's
I
true.
mean, technically, as early back as season one, they had a giant trash monster. So I suppose that it always has had some elements of surreality to it. But obviously, they were more downplayed back then.
Well, directions change over time, especially for an episodic program that only follows continuity somewhat.
I
And
think again it has started to focus on continuity more as it's gone on. I think not
actually,
entirely, but more than it used to.
Yeah,
actually,
the
another
continuity's gotten a lot better, like than
uh,
before. Definitely.
like actually, yeah, this is one area three greatly improved on two. It's the continuity because actually two probably has the worst continuity of all the seasons. Now that I think about it,
Possibly it did. It was very inconsistent in a lot of ways, and a lot of things that
like
happened.
I don't necessarily mean retconning plot ideas from the first season because like I can understand that from in the context of kind of functioning as a soft reboot in some ways, even though even though it probably wasn't intended. I mean, like you can have an episode like Back in Black, and then soon follow that up with what was it, Ellis for
Ellie's for
Love?
love, and of course Lucy has a different boyfriend in both episodes. But then again, I
It's like
think yeah,
they forgot about Rocky. It's like what the
I've
fuck?
told you this before. Rocky Spokes is the Rachel Wilson of the Loud House universe, and people who are fans of
And
the
I
Amazing World of Gumball will understand what I'm saying there.
okay, I've never seen Gumball, but whatever.
Well, watch it then.
Yeah, and then you have the episode Read Aloud that essentially retcons Lola's ability to read, as was shown in a few episodes before. And it was purely just to develop her into someone who can read very quickly. And it's like, what's the point?
Yeah,
Like, I'm not trying to discredit Read Aloud. It is a great episode judged on its own. It's just holistically, it doesn't function well in the context of season two.
yeah,
Yeah.
So it's
yeah.
like one and two are very flawed holistically in areas, whereas three is definitely an improvement in that. The continuity is tighter, the characters are more consistent and are better defined. Characterization is slightly improved, like especially with Lola, Luann, Laurie. Lenny's not quite there yet, but she's getting there. And it's like I noticed the characters just became more believable, essentially, which made for a more engaging experience.
Yeah, and it also helped that like all the family members like were starting to get their own episodes instead of like it just being like the whole family.
Especially Luna, where she got 3 episodes, like
Yeah.
quite an improvement over previous seasons.
Well, yeah. Well, in season two, she didn't even really have one. I mean, if you don't count Ellie's for Love, she didn't really get an episode in season two, so she kind of needed that.
To be fair, it was at least a good episode, unlike something I will talk about soon. But yeah,
But
so
yeah,
yeah, it's like go on.
so you carry, you finish.
So yeah, it's there's a lot to like. I still like in my season ranking of the Loud House. I still rate season three quite highly. It's like my third rated, like third highest rated, tied with season seven. So there's that. So I know, just some ordinary dude, you don't want to exactly hear this, but like like anything, season three has issues.
Oh, I
So
know that. I don't claim season three is perfect.
but I think you kind of over credit it a little bit. I'm just saying. So and this is something I did tell Alana. So Alana, can you try and think of any issues I have with season three? Does a certain name rhyme with your name, Alana?
Yeah, I remember you saying like Lana got like only one episode and it was bad. You said.
Okay, I didn't say it was bad.
Or
Though
like you said it wasn't like the best.
it was very aggressively mediocre.
Yeah, so what he's alluding to here is that Lana Loud only got one episode in season three, which is, of course, Scales of Justice, which he believes is not only kind of a weaker version of Frogwild, but also he doesn't like the fact that it has a really sort of cheaply executed Deus Ex Machina. And basically, if the only episode that she's had in the entire season is a somewhat mediocre one in his view, then that says, well, not every character got fairly focused on, which I won't say goes as far as to discredits the idea that season three has like this really great level of balancing character focus, but it does show that there are still flaws to it. And I've never disputed this. Season three is my favourite season, but it still has some faults. There are still like a few relative duds in there. Not bad episodes for me, but episodes that aren't particularly that interesting. Like for example, I
I
wouldn't. There are a few episodes in there that I'm thinking, I'm not that particularly impressed by them. Like Game Boys is a little bit, meh, and so is Past Your Bedtime.
Game
Um,
Boys was okay. It had some good humor in it, and
yeah.
Past Your Bedtime, as far as I'm aware, was the first Lincoln and Friends episode after Back Out There. And to be fair, it is a major improvement on Back Out There. Holy
Oh
shit!
yeah, this guy has this like raging hate bone for Back Out There. By the way.
Oh, Back Out There, I absolutely despise that turd.
Yeah, and speaking of episodes you really don't like, I remember you saying you didn't really like The Spies Who Loved Me very much.
I was really surprised how much I disliked that in retrospect.
Yeah, I
Wait,
mean,
why didn't you like it again?
Sorry,
Why didn't you like The Spies Who Loved Me again?
it is. like it's a good concept, I guess. Like Ronnie Ann is like going around the city, and the family are worried, so they spy on her. The problem is that the episode cuts to the family way too often, considering they pretty much say is the same thing over and over again, only with slightly rearranged or different dialogue. That really isn't different enough to justify like having the episode keep cutting back to them, especially when the camera is like zoomed right in their faces. It's like, wow, the cinematography in this one is atrocious.
Oh yeah, I never really noticed that.
Yeah, well, the
It's like
FFB here
it
is
has
a
a
professional nitpicker. That's what he does.
you nitpick too, dude.
Yeah, but you know,
You nitpick Flip all the time. That gets
I don't. What do you
exhausting.
mean? I nitpick Flip? I point out a very big recurring fault with the character over the course of many seasons. That's not a nitpick.
Wow, he appears in an episode for 10 seconds. That
Yo,
therefore
he
I
appears in
have an
almost
issue.
every episode for 10 seconds. There's a difference.
I don't care. It's still 10 seconds.
And it's not just that either. I mean, he gets more screen time and focal development than some of the main characters these days. That is a fact.
Uh let's not get into that rabbit hole because you're wrong and you know desperately you're wrong.
Oh yeah, that's his opinion on everything, guys. He must always be right.
I was just like The Spies Who Loved Me was just honestly just bad. It wasn't very good. It's not a terrible episode. It's just like it has a good enough ending, I suppose. Like Ronnie proved herself, like she's capable of handling herself. There's that, I guess, but the episode as a whole is like, wow, the animation is fine, but the cinematography is not, and like the production aspects are good enough, but the story is repetitive and like lethargic. It's just really bad. And then there's House of Lies, which
Oh yeah, the one that
Alana,
you
House of Lies.
yeah. I mean, you went out of your way to make a really really bad review of that, which he's still ashamed of to this day. By the way, everyone, that first review he did. I might just find a link of it and put it in the description just for amusement purposes.
Oh
Uh,
my god, are you really gonna go that far?
well, come on, maybe not.
Fortunately, fortunately, it is retitled as my worst cartoon review. It's very bad. I even knew before I published it that it was not good. I felt genuine cringe. Like when I was watching the final version, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't think I should publish it." But I decided, you know what? I'll publish it and see what the feedback is like. And let's just say it was shared by someone who also makes equally bad reviews. So there you go.
What did somebody else other than me share it then?
Oh my gosh. But my main issue with House of Lies, funnily enough, I should have realized this when rewatching series three. It kind of contradicts the season's theme of honesty because it's like it's an episode about why white lies are good, but some of the lies shown are not white lies. Like, all right, which one of you water buffaloes destroyed the bathroom? Was it
well,
me, Dad? That's a lie.
I don't know if the theme of honesty was necessarily intended when they wrote these episodes. I think I'm not sure like the stories were written to have this recurring element within them. I think that just
It's
sort of
just
ended up happening. So when they
I'm
wrote
pretty
House of Lies, they probably just didn't realize that it was going against so many other episodes of season three. I mean, who wrote? Yeah, it was a joint written episode by Sammy and Whitney. I mean, personally, I've never hated House of Lies. I mean, it's not one of my favourites or anything. I'm not going to defend it to the death, but I mean, I like the episode well enough. Um,
I'm nowadays I'm just very mixed on House of Lies because I don't approve of the moral. I don't agree with it. I don't
yeah.
agree with the ending. It's frustrating in places, but the one thing it does has, this is why Alana still likes it, is the comedy. Do you agree, Alana, that it's actually a very funny episode?
Yeah, it is. Like even if the moral is kind of bad, I mean it's still funny at least. So I mean that kind of saves it.
My favorite scene in that episode actually is my favorite scene is probably the one between Rita and Lucy where like Lucy just has to be honest and say like it's boring, Mom. You spent 10 pages describing a garden.
Yeah.
How does one spend 10 pages describing a garden?
I mean that's
Uh,
actually a valid criticism though.
Uh,
That's kind
well,
of
that is a fair point, yeah. But I mean, here's the thing. Like, I've never argued that season 3 is perfect, but it
It also
was.
has some very disappointing episodes. Like, what was it called? The Loudest Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, there is that, and it's spent way too long focusing on this sort of forced conflict between the two families. That you finally brought these two really colourful casts of characters together for the first time, and they don't have a lot of interactions. And to be honest, this is something the show still can have a problem with. Like recently, we had that recent Christmas special, "Twas the Fight Before Christmas." Same problem, does the exact
No,
same
it's not.
things wrong as the Loudest Thanksgiving. You know, it focuses
No,
way
no, it's
too
not.
much on the essential.
Here's the thing. The difference between those two episodes is this: Loudest Thanksgiving, every character except two argue and bitter. It's a very monotonous episode. And then you look at the Christmas episode. Funnily enough, it's the reverse. Only two people
Oh
argue.
yeah, I know
They're,
that. I'm just saying
they're
it focuses
siblings.
so much. It still focuses so much on this forced pointless conflict that goes on way too long, and you don't get that much interaction between the two
It,
sides of the family. If I'm perfectly honest, you get a few
it's
scenes, but
you
it's.
acknowledge the bigger picture. You have the Loud children working with their cousins in quite a few scenes. There's a lot more actual positive interaction in there. Like like
Well, maybe it's done
like
a bit better, but it still could have been
you
superiorly
can make
handled.
you can make an argument that it's forced, but personally speaking, as someone who has a brother who makes even Christmas time pretty annoying or frustrating, it's very relatable.
Oh, don't get me wrong, I've got a brother as well. I understand that siblings can have conflicts. I mean, that's the point of the whole show, but I don't know, it's just. It goes on for so bloody long, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I start tuning out as the second half of the episode goes on, if I'm honest.
I'm just saying, like an episode where two people are arguing and the rest try to work against it. Okay, that's believable. That's something that happens like more often. The whole family arguing, aside from like Laurie and Bobby, fuck, is it boring?
Yeah, there is that. I do wish the loudest Thanksgiving would have been better looking back, but then again, we got cursed later on, so that mostly made up for it, I guess. Um,
Cursed was a bit better, but it's still there wasn't as many interactions as like I expected, honestly.
mm,
It was better though than
yeah,
the Loudest Thanksgiving.
yeah,
I gave Towards the Fight Before Christmas a higher score than 11 Louds a Leaping.
yeah. But you greatly underrate 11 Loud to Leap It, so there is that.
Oh no, I'm being honest about 11 Louds a Leaping.
All
It
right, so
has
we're going into the theme of season 3 now, are we? But here's the thing. It's just with season 3, there are some relative duds in there. There are not every episode is one of my favourite, but when I just look through this run of episodes, like you've got Tripped, which is a really, really strong start to the season. You've got every Lunar episode in this season is really, really good. From
especially really loud music.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing. FMB here, season 3 may not be his favourite, but the episode he holds in the highest regard is really loud music from season 3. Um,
I
so
mean,
there is
is it one
that.
of your favorites, Alana?
Yeah, that's actually my favorite too of the season.
Yeah.
Maybe even the
Re-
series. Like it's up there.
really
Um,
loud music is just so good. Like
yeah,
you use music to tell a story that delves into Luna's psychological inner self,
yeah.
and the music is very good as well. Like surprisingly, especially I think it was the semi-final song. Like like when she's in that like disgusting pink outfit.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing. That episode kind of like contradicts the inferior Back in Black as well, because sure enough, in that episode, all the sisters participate in giving Lucy this pink sort of like girly makeover, and then one season later, Luna gets the exact same makeover and she hates it. So looking back, you're like, why did you participate in that Back in Black thing?
Yeah, but it's
It,
season 2, so that's probably why.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
pretty much.
the only time a retcon really worked in season two was Health Kick, where they retconned the parents being
Yeah.
exercising adults.
Yeah, which was a bit weird because, yeah. Because in season one, in what was it, the Loudest Yard,
Loudest
we
Yard.
see Rita Loud exercising. That's part of the beginning of the plot. Like they tell Lincoln he needs more exercise. Fast forward to season two, oh, suddenly they're lazy by the norm and they have to be taught to be more athletic. And that's another problem I had with Health Kicked. All the siblings hate it, and I'm like, Lynn Junior would love this. Come on, why is Lynn Junior
Uh,
not into this?
that's like a negligible flaw in retrospect because Health Kick as a whole is brilliant.
I don't know. It's all right. But anyway,
No, no,
back
no.
to back to
I
season
gave it.
three. You know, season three as a whole. I mean, just to sort of summarize on all this, um, yeah, it has a few duds, it has its problems, but I would say it's the point in the show where all the flaws of the earlier seasons were pretty much got rid of, and it's still focused mostly on stuff that was the most interesting. Like it focused on characters the right amount, and it balanced it very well. And and most of the episodes are really really strong. Like I was saying, you had Trip's really strong start. You had several great Lunar episodes. I mean, really loud music for me. I don't know if I call it my favourite of the season like you two, but it is within my top five. It is a really, really strong special episode. Then you've got other ones like Roadie to Nowhere. You've got No Place Like Homeschool. The slightly underrated Fool Me Twice. Pipe Dreams is quite good. And then you've got other ones like Head Perks Anxiety, one of my all-time favourites. Phenomenal
There's
episode.
also
The
there's
Mad
also
Scientist. You've
oh yeah,
got
the Mad Scientist, like the episode that executed time travel properly, unlike No Laughing Matter.
Yeah, and then you've got Shot Girl, really, really great, funny episode, one of the most entertaining of the season. Gown and Out, which is another really good Lola episode. Lola gets so many great episodes.
Is
Um,
that your favorite, Alana? Gown and Out, one of your favorites?
It's my second favorite of the season,
mm,
or third. I'm not sure.
yeah,
My funnily enough, that's not my favorite Lola episode of the season. That's easily Tea Tail Heart.
oh yeah,
So
that's another
good.
one.
Oh, that one's really good.
Yeah, and then you've also got the very underrated Sitting Bull. Like it's flawed, but it's really funny. It's like one of the funniest episodes of the show. And then you also have obviously really loud music. Um,
You said that
Middlemen,
already.
really groundbreaking episode. I know people gloss over it now, but back when season three first came out, Middlemen was a big, very meaningful episode that finally gave Lynn Junior the depth that she needed after 3 seasons. And then
It is the best Lynn Junior ish episode of season three, even though it focuses more
well, I
on
thought,
like
well, hang on,
Clyde.
because there was another episode that I remember you saying was better.
Oh
You
oh
actually
oh
liked Heroes Day
oh
Gone
so
Tomorrow more than that.
oh yes, Heroes Today, Gone Tomorrow. Alana, brilliant episode, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I like Middleman a bit more, but I still like
Yeah,
Hero
I
Today
mean,
much more.
Middlemen gets the credit it deserves, but I will say one thing about Heroes Day Gone Tomorrow. It is one of the most underrated episodes of the entire show. It's a really strong story that nobody ever talks about. People just don't seem to remember it exists, and I'm like, it's
Yeah, I
really,
don't hear
really
anyone
good.
mentioning it.
Yeah.
Actually, it is the most underrated. Actually, it's not only the most. It's not only one of the most underrated episodes. It's one of the most undeservedly underrated episodes.
Oh, absolutely. People should talk
Because
about Heroes Day Gone Tomorrow a lot more.
if something is underrated, that means that it wasn't that good or it actually sucks. But if something is undeservedly underrated,
Oh,
then
this guy,
sure, it
he's
means
bringing up specific terminology. He really likes to be pernickety about that. But
I'm just saying, be
yeah,
specific with your wording,
yeah.
dude.
And then you've also got The Right Stuff, Racing Hearts, and Stage Plight, and a very good ending with Cooked. So there are tons of great gems in this season. Yeah, they're sprinkled out among a few, okay episodes as well. But overall, as a run of episodes that comprise the
A
entire
package.
season, it's just really, really fucking good.
Yeah, I
But
think
I
Cooked was like the best season finale out of the whole show.
I mean,
there's a few good candidates there, but yeah, Cooked is
um,
certainly a contender for that.
I do like how season three has like a special at the beginning and a special at the ending. It kind of
Yeah,
makes it. It kind of adds a bit of cohesion to it. When you say Alana,
Yeah, it does. I agree.
It's when
I mean, I wouldn't say Cooked is the best finale. That goes to Coupe Dreams from season 4.
yeah.
But yeah, it is up there. It's really good.
Yeah, I mean, well, but you think about most finales. The reason I think season 3 and 4 have the best finales is that they're actually treated like sort of big special final episodes. Like Cooked is an actual special, and Coupe Dreams, while it's a regular episode, it's like a big thing narratively. Like it's Laurie's last episode before moving to Fairway in the next season. Whereas most season finales, they're just average episodes. They're just another episode. It's not like they do something special at the end.
How
I think the
dare
show
you
could.
call Love Sticks average?
Well, okay. So we actually that episode is Love Six the last episode. I thought there was another one after that in season 6.
Nope, it's the last one of season 6. And
Okay,
what a great way to go out.
okay. In that case, season 6 might have the best finale for me because that is definitely up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the thing is, like I said, I love season 3. It's just if I was watching The Loud House, I'd be more likely to put on a season 4 episode, or if I was to watch an entire season, it would more likely be 5 or 6.
I mean, to be fair, season 6 is a very close second for me for a lot of the same reasons as season 3. It has a really
Like
good balancing of
season
character
6
focus.
Season 6 has a similar issue where only one episode is given to a character, but to be fair, in the case of season 6, Luna's one and only episode, Hiccups and Downs, is really good. Alana, Hiccups and Downs,
Yeah, I enjoy that.
As I've
I like
it's
as I,
that.
actually it's very well written, unlike Scales of Justice, which was okay until it got tedious and then cheaped out, and now it's boring.
whatever. Most people, I think, still like Scales of Justice. But anyway, point
That's because they
is,
don't know writing.
what have you ever written? But anyway, season 6 is a very close second, so I'm not going to argue with that too much. Season 5 is very strong and probably overhated, but it does have some issues. It focuses a lot on side characters like Flip and Scoots and on Lincoln's friends. And don't get me wrong, season 5 was when Lincoln's friends really started to become a really good supporting group. But at the same time, I don't want to see half of the episodes about them, and that's what it does feel like. Uh,
And yet at the same time, you love Crash 3, and nearly half of that game is vehicles.
that's a bit of a different thing, though, isn't it?
Like, isn't that a double standard, Alana?
I'm not
Crash
too sure
Band.
on that.
That's a bit different, though, isn't it? Really, you're comparing video game gameplay styles to a TV show's use of character focus. That's
I don't
two
care.
very
It's
different,
still a similar
completely
thing.
different circumstances, mate.
No, it's your double standard. And here's something the
Oh,
dude is not willing to admit, Alana. I did say this before. Season 5, it's the only season where every single sibling, Lincoln, all the sisters, it's the only one that where they get 2 episodes at least.
and
Like
it's
not a
also the
single
one
one
where
only
the
gets.
other
I
half of the
guess.
episodes of the season they're not even present. So it averages out.
I'm just saying, Luan has Silence of the Luans and like um director's rot. Lenny has multiple, Lola has multiple, Lana has multiple, Luna has multiple. Like Lily even has Appetite for Destruction, and again, Silence of the Luans, and even a plot in Scold. Oh, did I mention Scold actually executes a Deus Ex Machina well? Just
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. Schooled also has a very flawed hall monitor subplot, but there you go. I still like Schooled though.
Skull is a flawed but successful, like 44-minute special. There you go.
Fair
Um,
enough, but yeah, but
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I like season 5. I just think seasons 3 and 6 handle handle the overall balancing of character focus a bit better, and just
just saying, you have a
focus on a
double
few
standard.
things that are more interesting. But yeah,
Yeah, I
Just
call
saying,
season 6 my second favorite as well.
yeah. Season 6 was definitely like season 5, but even better, I'd say. Yeah,
it's the season 6 is the only one to just take an entirely iterative approach, if you know what I mean.
yeah. Well,
Because
Hmm.
every season of the Loud House before, like season 1 was the start, season 2 was like the recontextualization. Season 3 was another recontextualization. 4 was another that. 5 was another that. And 6 is like, all right, we found something with 5. Let's just do that again, but better.
Pretty much. And then season
And
7
7,
happened, which for the most part continued until the last sort of run of episodes where it did fall down a little bit, but it's still a very strong season.
Yeah, I
season
prefer the
7,
first half of season 7 more than the second half.
Yeah, it's so much. It's with season 7. I was gonna put it on par with season 6, and then it's almost like it stumbles a bit at the finish line. The last run of episodes isn't that particularly interesting or great, which is why I do rate it a little bit below season 6 overall. For me, if I were to rank the seasons, I'd go season 3, 6, and then maybe 2 and 7 tied, and then 5, and then maybe 1 and 4 tied for different reasons.
how dare you? How dare you rate season 4 so low?
Well, no, I like season 4. The thing is, episodically, season 4 is actually quite strong. It has a lot of gems, but I can't just ignore the fact that like a fifth of the season is dedicated to literally another show. I can't just pretend that didn't happen.
And yet you still love Crash 3 so much.
Again, that's a very different set of circumstances, mate. You can't just make a
Still
blind
double
comparison
standard.
like that.
Still double standard.
Oh, shut up, you tart. Right, anyway.
Alana, isn't this fun?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, right. Anyway, we're over 40 minutes into this podcast, so we'll start
I
wrapping it
mean,
up here.
Wow.
yeah.
Um,
I'll finish something. It's like I don't think I've really met like at least I don't think I've met like say more than one person that would even go as far to say 3 is like the weakest. And to be fair, that guy's reason is probably weak.
who said it's the weakest?
Let's not get into that. I'm just saying I saw it and I was like, and I even saw the reasons. It's like, okay, this guy's a Mr. Enter knockoff.
And is he? Right.
Yeah. Do you have any final words, Alana?
Yeah.
Not at the moment.
Yeah, I'll tell
Because
you
I
what.
love season 3.
What for a last thing, Alana, if I were to ask you, let's say, what are your 5 favourite episodes of season 3? What would they be? Just like sort of briefly.
Probably really loud music. Head Poet's Anxiety. Uh, Gown and Out, Middlemen, and
It's hard to say, isn't it? Because there's so many great
yeah.
ones to choose from.
I love Rita Her Rights.
That's a pretty good one, yeah.
Maybe like No Place Like Homeschool.
That's a really good one as well. And I think, as FMB's pointed out many times, it's one of the last episodes I think Chris Savino had an involvement in, if I'm not mistaken.
T-Tail Horror, I presume. I
Yeah.
think so.
But it's one of the ones you point to when you say, oh yeah, Chris Savino wasn't that good, but it's one of his better works, sort of.
Hey, give Chris Savino this. He went out with a bang, even though he's a horrible person. Get it? Bang. Because
Oh, yeah.
women
Well,
problems.
I don't know the exactness of what he did. I don't know if it was just like, was it groping or I don't know what exactly. How far did he go with his thing? Did he actually try
Like
and
inappropriate contact with women or like
right?
women's family
Yeah,
members or something.
Oh
yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, we'll sort of wrap it up there. The thing is, we could talk about season 3 all day, but there is even though it has its flaws, I'd say it's overall just the season that I think appeals to people the most because of how good a lot of its episodes are, how most of the recurring faults of most of the other eras of the show aren't really present, and how it just focuses on all the characters so well. And it's just a really great, strong run of episodes where the staff behind the show really found their stride and really started firing on almost all cylinders. And as a result, I do have to say, yeah, season 3 as a whole, there's a reason why it's a fan favourite. If you ask the average fan what is their favourite season, they will say season 3. And for
I
good
love
reason.
I love how half of this podcast is you repeating crap.
And so do you.
Wow, Alana's the least annoying of the 3 here.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess.
Right, anyway, it was great having you on here, Alana. hopefully we'll see you again here soon. It
Yeah,
was great
Yeah,
yeah,
having
this was
you.
fun.
Um,
it's great to
yeah,
have you, Alana. One of the few first-rate fans who's also American.
Yeah, this was really fun.
yeah. So so we'll end it here, and everybody,
Hopefully next time, like when we bring you on again, Alana, we could talk about Laurie and Lola.
Yeah, I'd actually like that.
yeah. Okay, so everybody, we're 45 minutes now, so I'll end it here. But for everybody listening to this podcast, what's your opinion on season 3? Do you rate it as highly as we do? And if so, why? And if not, what is your favourite season and why? Let me know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.